a former national president of NUGS-China, as well as students from all chapters in China. So, H.E., please, this will be the audience for tonight's meeting, and we hope to have a wonderful time. Thank you.
Yeah, but the audience is more than the names you've mentioned. We have a lot of people online. Felix. Hello. Maybe he's having problems. Anyway, for the members who are here, thank you very much. I see about 30 people. Hopefully some more can join. I think a lot of you, for those of you who read the Daily Graphic, you must have come across Madame Elizabeth Ohene's, some of her articles. She was the first woman to become an editor in, I think I stand to be corrected, I think West Africa or Africa in general.
Yeah.
Africa, the first woman editor in Africa. And also rose to the high position of deputy editor at BBC, the first African woman to do so. She has a lot of firsts and arguably one of the best writers of her generation globally. I got the opportunity to work with her when I was moved from US to London during my days in media with CNN, and she was a big motivator for me. Why do I say so? Because when I was in secondary school, as part of our English and literature classes, our assignments were to read her column then in the Daily Mirror, and that would be your assignment for the week. So a lot of us grew up with an abstract idea of who Elizabeth Ohene was until I got to meet her in London. And since then, we've become very good friends, and she's a big inspiration to me. So based on some of the discussions I've had with you all, and I say that one of the positives of the COVID-19 is that for me, it's giving me a chance to get to know the students in China a bit more and also to develop relationships. I just realized the pessimism and sometimes the lack of I don't know the word to use, but sort of people have given up. And I find it worrying because you are the future. And as I keep telling you, in 10 to 20 years, most of you would be occupying positions of national interest, would be entrepreneurs, would be leading the country. And this is the time for you to motivate yourself. This is the time for you to be solution-oriented. So I thought that this week, why not take a few distinguished women who, despite all the odds against them during their generation, now it's a bit easier. But during the time that she was growing up, it wasn't that easy. And for her to have defied all the odds to reach that position, she has some stories to share, and I thought it would be good to bring her. I don't want to bore you with her long resume, but she did the best. She rose to the top in her chosen field, which was media, both in Ghana, Africa, and Europe, in the US and BBC, as I said. But most importantly, too, she's very well respected by even the men. And as you know, she worked under President Kufuor as a minister and is now a senior advisor to President Kufuor. But in addition to that, she's also good friends with President like Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa. I got to know Cyril through Madame Elizabeth when we used to share beer in her house in South Africa. So she can share with you some of the things that will help you to achieve your individual objectives and also our collective objective as a nation. And then you can ask questions. I think, as I always say, in a forum like this, there's nothing like a silly question. Whatever is on your heart, you can ask. I think we have 1 hour because she's actually, as I speak, she had to suspend attending the funeral of a very, very good friend. They had it yesterday. Today is the second day to participate in this when I called on her. So, Madam Elizabeth, if you can come in, just a brief on who is Elizabeth Ohene, and then we can take some questions. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Glad to come through. Who is Elizabeth Ohene? Elizabeth Ohene, 75-year-old Ghanaian woman. On my passport, it says I'm a writer. And yes, that's what I've done for most of my life. So I think writer and broadcaster, politician, those three would probably sum up the things that I've done officially. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm a wife. At the BBC, after a while, they used to say that my middle name was Permanently Outraged. That is Elizabeth Permanently Outraged Ohene. I decided very early in my life that there was no point in seeing that something was wrong or you felt strongly about something and either keeping it to yourself or complaining about it in your room or just among friends. That what I thought I could do something about, I would do it. This does not mean that I thought I had all the answers, but at least I was willing to put myself out there and start a conversation. And in the hope that during that conversation, we will find some solution. Nothing upsets me more than young people who just complain to themselves. Because I think when you are young, there are two things that you have that are in your favor. You have energy, so you can work and talk and do whatever you can do 16, 18-hour days and still feel fresh in the morning to start. Number two, everything seems possible. That is the advantage of youth. And I would recommend that very highly. And I think maybe I really ought to stop talking unless there's something in particular, and I'll be happy. I think it would be easier to just react to the things that you say or answer questions that you might have to ask me. You are all welcome.
Okay, so Gloria, we'll let you be the moderator if you can pick people's questions, and then people can ask their questions, unless you also have something to say.
I just want to appreciate Madam Ohene for coming, and we'll move on to the questions like suggested. The first question I have here is actually a suggestion. Somebody asked if we could see you, if that is okay.
If you could see me, I mean, what is there to see about me? You know what I look like. What do I do?
Press the video. Start video.
Press the video. Where is the video? I'm trying to see. Where is the video?
Go down.
Start video. Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, Dell.
Okay.
Okay, Ray, your hand is up. You may ask your question, Ray.
Sorry, it was a mistake, sorry.
Okay, Queen.
Okay, so Madam Elizabeth Ohene, thank you for finding time to talk to us, and God bless you for all that you have done. So my question is, since most of us are young and then we are not married, right? So this is really my concern, that as a woman, as a lady, how do you manage, how do you balance your work and then marriage life and and like social life, everything. Like, how do you find a balance between all those things?
Well,
Mm.
it's difficult. It helps to have a partner who is sympathetic to the idea of a woman not having to just stay at home. It's very, very helpful. If you happen to have a partner who thinks that his wife or his partner should not be in the public eye, should not, then it's not going to happen. Because all the jobs that I've done in my life are not what you might call 9-to-5 jobs. You can't be a newspaper editor and expect to go to work and start at 8 and close at 5. No, it doesn't work like that, because unless the paper is put to bed, you can't go home. Same goes for radio. You can't. And politics is the same. Last night I was at a meeting till 11 p.m. Now, you can't, if you are at a meeting till 11 p.m., it means that your house has to be looked after by someone. And apart from having a man who is understanding, it's also a very good idea to have a good housekeeper. The 8 years that I was a minister of state, I don't think I could have done it without Mami Dufie, Mami Lydia, who was my housekeeper. She's just an excellent woman. You treat her with respect, and she looks after you and everything else. So I think it's changing. I don't think it's that most of the men your age group, I think, I hope, would not say that their partners shouldn't be out till 7 p.m. or shouldn't wear certain kind of clothing. So I think things are changing, and I hope that keep the men with you. Throughout my life, I've always had more male friends than female friends, but that's just me. It's a good idea not to try to fight female battles only among females. It's a good idea to fight it with the men, because unless you carry them along, you are not going to win.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Abigail.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening.
I actually have two questions to ask you.
Okay.
The first question is, like, when you said your age, you said you were 75 years old, and
yeah,
I must say that's very encouraging, because I'm 24, but most of the time I feel like if I don't make all my decisions right now, maybe I'm running out of time to make the right decisions that will affect my whole life. So what advice would you give to us as youth concerning, the choices we have to make, and how we can have a positive perspective or positive aspect towards life, as regards to not feeling all the pressure that comes with growing and making the right decisions? Like, like you feel like you have to make all the right decisions right now. If not, then you would be missing out on the rest of your life.
Abigail, I suspect you are saying, people are saying, if you don't get married and have children quickly, you'll be too late. Is that what it is?
Well,
You'll be late.
I mean, as a lady, that could be one of the things, but not necessarily that. Also, regarding career, like you're in school, regarding your career choices, maybe you have to do the right specialty. You have to, being afraid of making mistakes, because you don't know, maybe if you make this mistake, it's going to affect all of your life. But you're 75 and you're advisor to the president, which means that, there's more to, they're still ruling. You're still like on top of your game even at that age. So that's like, how, what can you say to somebody like me who feels unnecessarily pressurized all the time?
I don't think you should be afraid of making mistakes. What, imagine how boring life would be if you were to go through all of life and not make any mistakes. Of course, can you imagine the number of mistakes I've made in my life? I have made mistakes, for goodness sake. I have. You would make mistakes and then you will learn from them and then you would move on and you won't carry it with you for the rest of your life. You would move on. I don't think you should be afraid of making mistakes. You hope that you are taking the right decision. Of course, you think about it and convince yourself you're taking the right decision. But if you've made a mistake, yes, you have, but you move on. I don't think you should be terrified of making mistakes at all. I think it's human, it's natural to make a mistake. But and as for making the decisions quickly, I was, maybe you could say I was rather precocious. Uh, I started working life after my first degree at age 22, and within months I was writing a column called Chat with Grandma. I called it Chat with Grandma. So for years, so it became my nickname, Grandma. Many, they have been called Grandma literally from age 23 till now. So I was being called Grandma before I ever had a child, before I ever became a grandmother. And so much so that some of my friends' children call me Auntie Granny or Auntie Grandma or Sister Grandma, because they think Grandma is my like real name. And so, or they hear their parents calling me Grandma, and therefore they don't think they can just call me Grandma. So they say Auntie Grandma, Auntie Granny, Auntie whatever. So you could say I was a little precocious because I was writing this column called Chats with Grandma. That was, I was pretending to be an elderly woman and writing things from the perspective of a grandmother. At age 23, at age 22, I hadn't had a child. I was young, maybe younger than you. But so who says I wasn't making mistakes? I was. I don't think you should be afraid of making mistakes at all. No.
All right.
Mistakes, learn from it, and move on.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
My second question is, actually, I watched this documentary about Chinese women. There's this name, leftover women, that's used to describe like women of older age, and they hold high job opportunity, job positions, and they are not yet married. And so we have this kind of stigmatization, right, in the society these days about women who set high standards, who think of like, achieving the highest and still they're not married. And I mean, marriage is very essential also. So what would you say to us young ladies who are still in school and stuff like that? Because when we are young, we are told, we have to study, we have to make it, and we have to go to college, go to the university, get good jobs. But then when you get to a certain stage now, you are told, at this age, you need to find a man, you shouldn't focus everything on your education. You have to also think of how to be like a wifeable person, and if you are too high, men won't want to be with you, and all of those things. It's very confusing because we are encouraged to study hard when we are young, and then when we are getting old and trying to achieve set high ambitions, we are told you need to tailor your ambitions so that it makes your male counterpart more comfortable in a way that they will find you attractive enough to want to marry you and stuff like that. So what would you say to us ladies? Because it's very confusing in this kind of society. What do we do?
My view is that it is not the responsibility of only the female part to keep the species going. Do you see what I mean? I don't think that only the females have a responsibility to keep the species, the human species going. It's the responsibility of the men also. So if I hesitate to say this because it's considered, anyway, that's the way I feel, so why not? I'll say it. I don't think the most important thing in life is having children. I just don't think so at all. If you have children, fine. If you have a child, good. Look after them. Look, I don't think, but I don't think that if you don't have a child, it is the worst thing that can happen to a human being. I don't think so at all. Because I forget what the percentage is. It's natural. A certain percentage of the human species is infertile, male and female. It's not just females. So nature made it that some of us shouldn't have children, others would have children. So, and as for, and I have know so many people who got married because they felt pressurized that that's the thing to do. Is the society says you should do so, or your parents say you should do so, and they are miserable for the rest of their lives. For goodness sake. So what's the point? I would say just listen to your inner voice and do what it says. Make sure that you are taking the decision that makes you comfortable, that makes you feel that you are at peace with yourself, and not because that is what society expects of you, because you are not going to be sharing a house or a bed with society. You will be sharing a home, a bed. You are going to be a mother or father, for that matter, in the confines of your own home, not with society. Then people then put up a face, a totally different face, a fake face, to go out and face life out there and pretend that they are happy when they are aching inside. What a life to lead. I wouldn't say so. I would say get on with it. Yeah. If by the time usually it turns out okay. It's not only the women who are wanting to get married, the men too want to get married. So I don't think that you should go through life thinking, "Ooh, I'm not married." Everybody will think. The men too want to get married, and they can only get married to, I'm wrong, am I? I was going to say they can only get married to women these days. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's what you're looking for. It's perfectly okay to just do what your inner voice tells you. And often you are okay.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, so we will take the next question from the user with the name iPhone. But I wanted to let us know that this meeting code would end in about 10 minutes, and we can log back in with the same code, please.
Hello.
iPhone.
Hello.
Yes, madam. We are welcome to this discussion, madam. My name is Eric.
Okay.
I'm a bit surprised. You look very active, and at age 75, you seem to be involved in many activities, being a politician or radio writer, advisor to the president. How do you manage all this? And what's the secret behind your activeness? Thank you.
I don't know if there's any secret. That's what I've always done. Maybe I should say, and maybe the Almighty has been kind to me. I've been in good health most of my life. So, I don't feel tired. So I get on and just go on. I'm happiest being busy. Sometimes you might hear that I've complained that I'm busy, but the truth, if there is a secret, it is that I am happiest when I'm busy. When I don't have things to do, I am very confused. I don't know what to do. So I like to be busy. I like to have things to do. And if there are things to do, I continue to do it. That's all. There is no secret to it. And I enjoy what I do. I think that also helps. The fact that if being a politician, I enjoy being a politician. Being a writer, I enjoy being a writer. Being a broadcaster, I enjoy being a broadcaster. Being a troublemaker, troubleshooter, I enjoy that too. So that's it. If there's a secret, that's it. Getting to know what makes you happy and doing it.
Awesome, thank you. iPhone, do you have any follow-up question? Okay, then we'll move on to the next person. Esibet, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, God bless you for taking time to be with us. My question is with taking initiatives. I believe you made some decisions or you were able to do certain things that were out of the ordinary, looking at your profile. And I would like to ask if there were some practical steps or certain things that you did intentionally or some things that you did that helped you to do get to wherever you were, and if there are some things you think we can avoid, especially looking at the youth now, some advice you can give us to stop making some unnecessary mistakes so that we can have a stepping stone to arrive at wherever we have to be, and if there's also any advice you can give us to make us do whatever we have to do right. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I hesitate about giving advice to young people today. The world that you have you have so many things that we didn't have. Look at how we are communicating with you in China today. It was the kind of thing that was totally unthinkable in my time. So you have so many avenues open to you now. But there was just one little thing I would dare to say, that, you know, people hurry and put things about what they think or what they are doing out there in the public and forget that once you put it out there, it remains a matter of public record, and it will be quoted for you, against you, when you are least expecting it. So I'll just say, even though it is so easy to post something on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on whatever, just before you click on send, can you stop a bit and ask yourself, is this something that I would be comfortable with in a year's time, in 2 years' time? Or sometimes you do it, you think anonymously, is this something that I'll be happy to own up to if it is known that I'm doing it? It's probably I'm probably not qualified to give advice on how to deal with social media or technology, but it's something that occurs to me because I've been on interviewing panels now in the past 4, 5, 6, whatever years, where things have come up about what someone posted years ago while at school or something, and it's been brought up and being used as reason why that person can't get a particular job or the other. Why damage your prospects because of something that you put out there that you haven't had a chance to think it through. I don't know if you find that useful.
Okay, thank you very much. Because the meeting will be ending in 3 minutes, I just want to end it now so that when we come in, Akosua Jewa will ask her question and we continue from there. Please, let's log back in with the same meeting ID.
Madam Elizabeth, you go out and come back in again.
Okay, I go out. Now, how do I go out? I
just to leave meeting and then join meeting again with the same code.
Okay.
Yeah.